Hello and welcome back to my home here in East Tennessee. It is a day of celebration for me. My YouTube channel is 8 years old today. I started doing videos on March 31st, 2015, and here I am 8 years later. I have all of you to thank for that. Thanks so much for going on my orchid growing journey with me for all these years. There's been a lot of adventures and experiments, the ones that worked and the ones that didn't work so well, and lots of friendship and support over these years. I've done 534 videos. Yes, this is number 534. I've received thousands and thousands of comments and questions, and I hope you all are better growers because of my channel. I know I'm a better grower because of you. So in celebration today, we're going to go on a tour of some of the orchids in bloom that I did repotting videos last summer and last fall so that you can see their progress. I love to share orchid blooms with you all because some parts of the year I don't have much in the way of new blooms to share with you. And this is the time of the year to celebrate orchid blooms. I'm going to start up a new monthly series, care tips, and what I'm doing every month with my orchids. I usually give general care tips with my orchids, and I think it will help to share with you how my care changes from month to month. Of course, keep in mind, if you're in a completely different growing area than I am here in East Tennessee, your care will probably be different than mine. Everybody's environment is different, but certain things are the same when things start growing, spiking, and resting. And that's what I intend to cover in this series. Let me know in the comment section if this is something you all are interested in and what I can cover that will help you. I'm going to give you somewhat of a preview of that today. I'm going to cover mini Phalenopsis care for this month, and I'm going to show you my Vanda I got from the orchid supply store back in October, and also my Cattleyas. And since it's spring and it's the ideal time to repot orchids and plants, I am sponsored by the orchid supply store. They have everything you need to repot your orchids and any plant you have, and they also have beautiful orchids. So go check out their website. They have Vandas, Cattleyas, dendrobiums, spider plants, air plants, and so many beautiful and unusual things. And they also have different ways to display your orchids that are unique. And when you place your order, use my coupon code AMY for a 12% viewer's discount. And like so many of you have made mention of, they offer free shipping inside the continental United States. That's a great deal. And I always include their contact information in my description box in my videos. So first off, let's cover care for March and also into April with miniature Phalenopsis care. Right now they're all in bloom, as you have seen, and they're so fabulous when they're in bloom. They're all growing in my bark and moss sandwich, which I have success with by serendipity. I tried growing one like this a few years ago, the white one that I showed earlier in the video, and it grew like a wild jungle plant. So I repotted all my mini Phalenopsis in Orchid bark with New Zealand spag moss in the middle of the pots. This works great for me, better than anything I've ever tried. They're blooming now, and when they bloom, they do dry out quicker than when they're not in bloom. So I'm checking these pots twice a week to make sure they're getting enough water. The good thing is with this bark and moss sandwich, I'm only having to water this time of the year about once a week, which is really good. But they're also mature plants in larger pots with really good root systems. The ones I repotted back in the spring that barely had roots have very strong root systems now. But just a reminder, when your mini phals bloom, Just make sure that you're watering them enough or they'll get unhappy with you very quickly. I water this bark and moss sandwich the same way I do just moss. I don't soak them. I just add water slowly until the water starts draining. And I use a lot less water this way. And right now I'm fertilizing these at a rate of about 200 to 225 parts per million twice a month. When you're growing your orchids in moss or even in a mixture, it retains your nutrients really well. But that is also dependent on the weather. If it's warm outside, like it has been this week, I fertilize. If it's cold, like the 20-degree weather that we had last week, I feed them only CalMag at about 50 parts per million. And here's a close-up of what my bark and moss sandwich looks like, and you can see this orchid barely had any roots back in April. And look at the root growth. Yes, she is very happy. Beautiful, beautiful roots. And this is my beautiful Vanda that my sponsor, the Orchid Supply Store, sent me back in October, and it is in layers of bark and moss. I started the layers, the bottom is bark, then moss, then bark, then moss, and then of course I've got a layer of bark over the moss to make sure that no algae forms in this pot, because it goes to cyanobacteria on me really quickly here in my environment. It got through the winter really well, which is the hardest time for me to get a Vanda through, to keep it hydrated. I only had to water it every 5 to 7 days and it stayed hydrated, which is a miracle because my heat system was on so much and that dries out the air a lot. But right now it's starting to grow a new leaf, and so I'm fertilizing it at a rate of about 300 parts per million every 3 to 5 days. Like I said, the weather this time of the year, it's just warm some days, cold some days. So on a cold day, I'm not going to fertilize it. But on a warm day, yes, I'm going to fertilize it. These require a higher amount of fertilizer or they just won't grow well for me. So my Vanda is happy, it's growing, and it will hopefully bloom next year. This is a very young plant, but it is in beautiful shape. Next, let's go over some care tips for Cattleya orchids. And of course, this is my GCT Lawless Glorianna, and I've had her for 20 years. And let's just stop here and drop the mic. Okay, care tips while they're blooming. Again, I water a little more often when they're blooming because they're thirstier when they're in bloom. And I check on Glorianna while she's in full bloom really often and make sure that her moss isn't too dry. How I do that is I lift the pot to see if there's moisture in it. If it's very lightweight, then it's time to water. I don't fertilize them much when they're blooming. I found that the root tips just don't like the fertilizer while they're blooming. So I skip it and I only use about 50 parts per million of CalMag while they're blooming. They're not in bloom as long as my phals are, so it's no problem to skip the fertilizer during just that amount of time. She is usually in bloom between 6 to 8 weeks. There was one year that she bloomed a little bit longer than that, but that's about the time frame. And if it goes too long, then I'll go ahead and fertilize. But I've just found that she does not prefer fertilizer while she's blooming. I start fertilizing them again when I see new growth starting. And I already see new roots developing on some of my newer Cattleyas that aren't mature enough yet to bloom. So since I grow them in moss, I only need to fertilize them about twice a month. I will start at a rate of about around 200 parts per million. I start low, and then during the summer I might get up to like 250, 275, but I don't ever go above that amount, and they grow really well. And in between, I'll just water with a little bit of CalMag at about 50 parts per million, and they grow great that way. So that's the start of my monthly care videos. I hope you all enjoyed that. I'm really excited about this series. It will be new and fun, and I think everybody will learn a lot from it. I'll be doing a part 2 to this, and I'll be going over care for my larger phals, my summer phal, my Neophonetia, Lepantopsis, my Dendrobiums, and my Tolumnias. Got a lot to go over it. And I have a mystery orchid that you all haven't seen here in my collection yet. So it's going to be fun to go over that with you all as well. And as I end this video, I want to thank all of you for going on my 8th year anniversary celebration video. I can't do an 8th year celebration video without showing you my beautiful phal Legato. And yesterday I noticed that she has 2 lips, angels I call them, but she has a double lip on that bloom. I think that is just so charming. She stays here in my kitchen. She's been with us during many, many family meals, and she is just like part of the family. I enjoy her so much. I appreciate all of you and your friendship and your support throughout these 8 years, and I'd love to hear from you in my comment section. How long have you been watching my channel? I know some of you have been here since the very beginning back in 2015, and some of you are brand new. And I'd love to hear from you either way. And if you're new, welcome to our orchid family. This is a great group of people here on my channel. So before I go, I'd love to say the blessing over you, your family, and your plants. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. You all make it a great day. Thanks again for watching, and here's to another 8 years at least. Make it a great day.